is Investigator Josh Kramer with the Monmouth Police Department. Good morning.
Morning, Vanessa.
How's it going?
The weather forecast would be a little bit better if it was nice and sunny on Saturday and Sunday, but hey, maybe it will be.
You never know. It's definitely spring, so we're up and down.
Yes, yeah, the grass is definitely getting greener, so.
It is. We're glad for that. It wasn't a bad winter, but it was still winter, so we like spring.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it drug out. It wasn't that it was bad, but it just cold temperatures.
It was dreary.
Yeah.
Now it's planting season.
Hey, let's bring it on.
And people be careful on the roads.
And I think last month we were talking about how they needed moisture, so I hope that they're getting their fulfill of the moisture now that it's raining and all that fun stuff.
Well, it is going to rain more this week, so
I suppose.
Yeah, but going to be close to 80 on Friday. Going to be a good-looking day.
Well, I was going to say, we had, 80 2 weeks ago?
Yeah. And then it snowed the next day.
Yeah, the next day. I mean.
Stupid.
Let's get out with March, you know? I think it's going out with, was it out with a lion or something like that?
Yeah. Out like a lamb, in with a lion or something like that.
Yeah, let's get into April.
Yeah. Well, it's going to happen very soon. All right, and you are our speaker today at Kiwanis Club, so we're excited to have you come in and talk about Crime Stoppers and scams to our Kiwanis group. So thanks for coming to do that.
Absolutely. I really appreciate the invite, and like we always talk about on here, the opportunity to educate the public is definitely a calling I like to take instead of the other side, which...
Well, we have to. Looking at the data you brought, oh my gosh, or that you've been reading about, wow.
I was just going to say, it's unfortunate. I told you that last year the FTC said about $12.5 billion was lost to scams. That's 25%, 20% increase from the year before. I like to think that we're doing a good job educating, but I think we need to step up a little more, unfortunately. And, looking at a list that you have in front of me, all of these... Actually, I believe all of these we've even spoke about sitting here on the radio with you. So
they've happened right here in our little town.
Yeah, the tollways. I keep getting people messaging me. Oh, I got another tollway scam. Which tells me that those people they're making money off that scam. The fact that it's still going pretty strong. So I mean, just educate family, loved ones, friends. It's not legitimate. So we've talked about that a lot, and I'm surprised that it's still going on as hard as it is. But like I said, just getting the message out there that, hey, the Tollway Administration's not going to send you a threatening or demanding text message. And I have noticed that they have stepped up their demeanor in their text messages. So that's just not going to happen.
Well, the tollway messages were really, really rampant. You even put something out on social media about it. Then everybody reported the numbers as spam, but it is back. I got one yesterday. I had like 3 yesterday, and I kept reporting them as spam. The third one said, that was it. I was going to lose my license.
I mean, yeah, they're threats. They're pretending to be somebody, and then it's going to go into they want you to provide or pay, and then the pressure's going to follow right up behind it. So it's going to sound very demanding. They're not going to, especially if you get them on the phone. And if you get them on the phone, they're not gonna let go of you. They're gonna keep pressuring you until you either one, I hope that you hang up, or you provide the information that they're asking for. Looking through this list real quick, they've got imposter scams. Those I would say are definitely a big one because they present an imposter of being like the federal government or a law enforcement agency, and they're gonna take some sort of legal action against you. So it's gonna sound very threatening. It's gonna sound very forceful, and they're not gonna let you go. And obviously, if they're saying they're the IRS or somebody, those are positions of authority that would be scary to have them calling you. But they're not going to. So whether it be initiating with an email or a text message or however that message might come to you, just put it in the junk folder, delete it. Don't give it any credit because those agencies aren't going to reach out to you like that, and they're not going to reach out with that type of forceful message. It's just not how we or any agency conducts business.
Okay.
So, but I mean, going down the line, social media scams and the online purchase scams. We've talked a lot about those, whether they be the marketplace scams, or you're Googling an item, we'll use like a Yeti tumbler, for example, and you get, wow, hey, they want to sell me a lot of 12 of them for like $2 a piece. You need to really look at, is that actually a company, or is it just somebody that's literally bought an ad on Google and is scamming people for that price? Because I guarantee that you're probably not going to get that item for that price. It's just not out there. And if it's too good to be true, it's not true.
I have heard of this a number of times. Youngsters trying to buy their shoes, their Jordans or whatever the shoe may be, and instead they get back a picture of the shoes they thought they bought.
Oh yeah.
And they paid a fraction of what the cost should be.
Correct.
And that's that too good to be true.
Yeah.
But they sure lure you in. The wording, everything's just perfect. And for a kid on a budget.
Yeah, the pictures, you're trying to get a good deal, and it's like, once again, we need to verify. And unfortunately, our younger population is more vulnerable and our older population is more vulnerable. So it's just, getting the message out there. The the other thing that I saw here, I don't know, a couple weeks ago was an ID Me website. It's used to verify your identity. A lot of the federal administration's sections will use that to verify who you are. This guy had received a call. I believe they were stating they were Social Security Administration, and they were soliciting him to create an ID Me account, which will provide, every bit of information that they would need, whether it be your Social Security number, date of birth, or whatever information they're going to request. So just keep that in mind, that website, that organization are not going to solicit you to create an account.
Okay.
So,
Kaylee, why don't you come over here for a second? With her age group, I want her to share with you, what they may see as scams, because they're on different social media than me. I mean, I'm old, so I don't even do the TikTok thing or any of those. But go ahead, Kaylee.
I would just say a lot of the biggest things that I see, like Vanessa just mentioned, the whole TikTok thing, TikTok shop, that one scares me. I've heard of people getting their information stolen off of stuff like that. Fast fashion apps like that we see that are popping up. I mean, there was that Super Bowl ad that came out a couple of years ago that just kept going and going and going, and that app blew up, and it's like, it's China.
Yeah. And you were talking about TikTok. It's when you use that, you think, okay, they're providing a message or a video of whatever the product might be, and then you look at it, well, in return, then you've shared it. So your friends see, well, Kaylee, she looked at this or shared it. It must be legit. And that's just the backside of how those platforms work. So you're not only like, maybe you just looked at it, but on the backside, well, your friend looks and says, hey, well, she looked at it. This must be legit. And then it just keeps going and going and going. So yeah, it's really a matter of also, if you do look at it and you're like, oh, this is a scam, make sure you report it. So hopefully that like your friends, or it doesn't automatically share an algorithm with somebody else, that they're going to get to see, hey, you looked at it, because then it kind of attaches you to the product or whatever they might be.
All right,
selling.
I'm back to it. Horse and buggy. Shut the internet off. Right?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be able to stream all my Razorback baseball games. Huh. Yeah, that's a challenge. I know, right?
Pros and cons of
Pros and
technology.
cons
It's on
of
both sides,
technology. Yes. Thank you, Kaylee, for that, because it's good to know what you're seeing on other social media and what young people are seeing, because bless their hearts, they're so used to being online. We can shut down the phone because you and I talk about it each month, but a lot of people don't know. I still know a friend of ours whose parent $80,000 into a romance scam. They found her through we think the obituaries that she was a surviving and not a lot of family.
Yeah,
and she's lost her house now.
And along with that, you brought up a good point, is that all funeral homes put all their obituaries on their Facebook and websites now. So I mean, as a tool for average people that look, you get older, you kind of tend to look at obituaries, see somebody's parents or somebody's passed away, but somebody anywhere can be looking to see, okay, yep, so and so's passed away. They lived in Monmouth, Illinois. Well, it takes about 30 seconds to figure out through open source information, where that person lived, did they have a mortgage, who their neighbors were, who their banking institutions were. And I mean, now they've got free game to somebody that's a vulnerable population to take advantage of that.
Good point. I didn't even think about that because it's open source. It's there's if you Google your name, you'll be shocked.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, you will. There's
Where you lived in college to who you're associated with.
Yeah. I mean, it's a neat way, like you said, to be able to explore and see different things that you wouldn't normally be able to do. But on the other side, it captures everything.
Yes, it does.
I
Data
mean,
capture.
It's what you scroll through, talking about the TikTok, it's capturing all those things. Whatever you type in that search box is going into your algorithm and is going out to whoever they push it out to.
Right.
So,
speaking of pushing out, capturing data, there's a scam that the Macomb Chamber of Commerce sent out yesterday. They wanted people to be aware of.
Yep. Once again, you see the Macomb area Chamber of Commerce and you think, oh, that's a reputable organization. And somebody spoofed their email and has accessed their account, it looks like. So if you get an email, like I said, it's a matter of verifying. Luckily, we all kind of are in a small enough communities that somebody or can contact somebody and say, hey, I got this email from the chamber. Is this legitimate? It's kind of weird that they're soliciting this information because you get in larger areas, you just don't, oh, hey, yeah, I'm going to donate whatever. I want to see it's a good cause. So it goes back to that pretending.
Yes. We're talking with investigator Josh Kramer about the latest scams and anything else here locally in Monmouth that you can think of.
I just like to put out too, and this, it's kind of died down a little bit, but it was going kind of heavy for a while, was the marketplace rentals and the marketplace purchasing. There would be pictures that would get posted. Sometimes it was the residents in Monmouth and in the surrounding area, and sometimes it was labeled as an address in Monmouth, but clearly the house wasn't even that. And if you inquired about it, they'd ask you, the usual, I need a down payment, I need to do this before we look at it. Maybe they were asking for gift cards. I think in other ones they were actually just taking debit or debit cards. So just remember, if you're looking, once again, they were kind of marketed at a good value, that we're a small enough community to just go check it out. If you see the address, physically go look at it, maybe contact the realty company if there is a sign out front. A lot of it's just verifying.
Yeah.
And I hate to say this too, but marketplace, if you are doing purchases on there, because there's a lot of people I know that do it, I've made marketplace purchases, make sure that if the price is too good to be true, it's not true, and that you're meeting in a public place and that you're verifying whatever currency they're providing. So if it's cash, that it's actually real money.
Okay. Thank you so much, Josh.
Hey, thank you for having me.
We'll
I really appreciate it.
See you at Kiwanis.
Just a little bit.
Josh Kramer with us.